Soundiron released an update for their Voices of Rage library, and it is the perfect resource for anyone looking to add aggressive, guttural metal vocals to their music. So today we're going to go over the top 5 features of this library to see if Voices of Rage is right for you. So if you're interested in any of their libraries, then definitely use my discount code RRMusic so you can save 5% off your entire Soundiron purchase. And I just want to give a huge thank you and shout out to Craig and everyone at Soundiron for sending over a copy of this library. So let's jump right into it. Now, the number one feature of this library is going to be its vocalists. From within the library itself, we see that we get phrases and a word master for Aaron, Evan, Jason, Mixie, and for this new updated version, Radwan as well. And what's really cool is that he actually gets 2 phrase patches as well as 2 word master patches. Now, I think that these vocalists are definitely the biggest aspect of this library. Each person's going to give you a different characteristic and style that you might not get from the others. That means that you get more variety in your vocals to match the music that you're writing for. So let's check out some of Radwan's phrases so we can get a sense of his vocals.
What's it doing for me? When you come out and frozen in glass, you were tied up in knots, loading on empty, give up to the clock.
So the very first thing that comes to mind is just the richness of the growl in his voice.
Wherever it is, when you come out.
And I want to point out that you actually can hear 2 different round robins for each phrase. So this C,
it's not about.
and then I do C sharp,
it's not about.
and it's just ever so slightly different, which is really nice so you don't hear like the same phrase exactly over and over again. And I do want to point out that you get 2 major categories, growl and then screech. And for each one, you're going to get a drop-down menu that says undoing, breakable, leech, disgrace, simplicity, and we'll see the same list for screech. Undoing, breakable, leech, disgrace, simplicity. And what's great is that these are all connected to the red key switches down at the bottom. So you could just go up in order and cycle through everything in these lists. And this is what the screech sounds like.
It's not about you try to make this pain. You were tied up in knots. Would you do the same for me?
Really, really nice compared to the growl.
Would you do the same for me? It's not about when you come out. Who was on for a service?
And something else to keep in mind is if you don't want to accidentally click one of the key switches, you can just tidy up the little keyboard and press the broom icon and they go away. Then you can also decide if you want it to be natural, variable, or sync it to the tempo of your DAW. Plus, these phrases come with a sequencer. And that'll be something that we'll kind of dive into more when we look at the word builder. The next key feature is going to be the word builder master patch. You pretty much get the ability to create these unique custom vocal phrases based on an entire catalog of over 100 words across this whole library. In this section, I really want to dive into the interface of the sequencer so you can see how much control you have over your vocals. Once you load in the word master patch, the first thing that you'll see is that sequencer. But I actually want to start off with the word list. This is where you can check all of the words available depending on the vocalist, right? You have 4 pages total, so you can get like division, down, empty, his, whole, honor, insanity. And what's great about this list is that you can see everything routed to its individual key. So you know which one is going to give you which word. And even though each key is going to be different, you still get your round robins from before if you just press the note twice.
In solitaire, lick.
It's so subtle, but it really makes a difference. So getting familiar with this list is going to be an incredible way to start messing around with different words and creating your own phrases and sentences. So if we go back to our sequencer, you'll see that we have a visual of our vocals as well as the list of our words that are in the step sequencer. And we also have a few knobs for tweaking basic settings. So by pressing any of the blue keyboard notes, you'll see which word you're playing and the visual representation of it. But by pressing this purple key all the way at the bottom, you're gonna see that that's actually a trigger assigned to A-2. And this is gonna cycle through the assigned steps here. The first word is gonna be demon, then it's gonna move on to destruction, division, die, empty, fallen, hatred, kill, and go through all 16 of these pre-assigned words.
Demon, destruction, division.
And so the way the sequencer works is you get a set amount of steps. So in total, you get 32 possible steps in this little sequence. And you can adjust the number of steps here. Right now it's at 16, so we have the 16. It's also going to show you which step you're currently on. So 1, 2, 3, 4 matches our 4th step. You'll be able to adjust the direction either forward, backward, or random. And then there's a difference between one shot, loop, and step. So let's start off with one shot. So for the purpose of this example, let's say you go through the entire sequence, you went through all of the different words, and now your word is sacrifice. And that's the last word in this sequence. Let's shorten that up just for this demo. And then we were to play with the purple key.
Sacrifice.
I'm still holding down, and it went to the start again, and it does not continue. If you were to go to loop, you do the same thing. Let's say you make it all the way to the end with sacrifice, and that's your last word.
Sacrifice.
It's gonna loop again. It's gonna start over from the top and keep going. And then you have the forward step. And this is just gonna go word by word. It's not gonna automatically move to the next one. So we're on destruct right now. So if I were to hold it down,
Destruction.
I let it go and it automatically moves to division, the next in our sequence. And then of course you can go forward or backward or random. You saw what I did with sacrifice. You can actually adjust the end point and the starting point based on the visual, or you can always adjust it with these knobs down here, start and end. There are also going to be 2 different types of articulations. We're going to have our long sustains as well as shorter staccatos. And you can pick that staccato, sustain, staccato, sustain. And then you can pick between evil or rage. So right now this is just evil.
Hatred.
And then let's go to rage.
Hatred.
And that is such a hollow, aggressive sound compared to the rich, evil sounds. And you'll see that these are both linked to the green key switches down at the bottom. And if you wanted to, you can combine the two. That way you get both of the effects sounding together. And then you can increase the number of words by increasing the number of steps. But let's say you want to change the word in a sequence. You could click to assign step, and then you might do something like that. And now we have a new word for this last word in our sequence, and it changed to sin. So in addition to the word builder, you're going to see a set of knobs that are going to be pretty standard to the rest of the library. And they cover volume, attack, offset, release, legato, stretch, pan, and pitch. Those are essentially going to control the whole sequence player. We also get some clever key switches that control the sound of our vocals. I already showed you that the green will cycle through evil or rage or both, but then you have these red key switches right there, and that's going to change your sound from being sustain to being a staccato. So if I were to make sure it's staccato and then press, you get a much shorter sound. But what's nice about the sustains compared to the staccato is you get a longer sound, and once you release, it knows to end the word. So it knew to end, even though we didn't reach the end all the way over here. And then by looking at the other end of the keyboard, you'll see that we have a few different key switches, and this is going to control the pitch. So take a look. I just press 1, and that increases it by 1. Then we have 2, 3, right? We can also go down the other way, -2, -3, just so you can hear what that sounds like. And then let's go up. And let's go all the way up. So you have a lot of control with that as well. And you can, of course, move this however you like. And then if you head on over to the mic mixer, you'll see that we have 2 different microphone signals. The default is going to be the studio, and then you also have a second one that is going to be the stage. So let's just hear studio again. And then let's just hear the stage. And that just sounds a lot farther back. You could tell that the studio one is much more up close and personal. The stage is going to emulate the sound as if it's on a stage. You can, of course, play the two together and adjust the volumes and the levels of each. You can pan left or right, and of course, play with the width. And then the FX rack is going to be a different page altogether, but you can throw in a bunch of different effects that you want. By default, this is going to come with a reverb and a distortion. So this is what it sounds like without that reverb. Super dry sound. And then if we were to add some distortion and throw back the reverb, really crazy stuff. And then if you wanted to, you could always add in more effects based on this drop-down menu. You have a filter, EQ, compressor, cabinet, rotator, some stomps, delay, reverb. And then if you wanted to save what you loaded in, you could create a custom preset or just load in the presets that Soundiron has created for you. And then if you want to include more than just 4 of these effects, you can always go to rack 2. And now the last 2 top features of Voices of Rage are gonna be the bonuses that you get. So first, let's check out the Rage Ambiences patch. This is gonna be where you get your LFO, your filter, and your arpeggiator. You can always pick different waveforms, you could pick a target, you can increase the time, intensity, or fade. With the filter, you have a few different types to choose from. You can also pick the source. You can pick the number of steps. And then the arpeggiator, you can also pick the preset 1 through 12. Again, you can increase steps or decrease the steps. Just for example, this is what it sounds like if we turn on the LFO. All right, and let's just see what the filter sounds like. And then by looking at the bottom, we see that we have this Ambisynth 1 output, and that's what we're hearing with the LFO filter arpeggiator. The cool thing is that you can assign that Ambisynth to layer A, and then let's say you want to turn on Ambisynth 2, turn the speaker on. Let's say we want it to be layer B, and we want a totally different sound. Let's go for, I don't know, number 10. So you get a combination of both. That's A, and that's B. And then back in the middle. And then on top of these 12 presets that we get, we also can pick an overall category, and we have sub-synth sustains and sub-synth staccatos. So you can really mess around with these ambiances, and I like that it's included in what we assume would be a vocal library. So that is a very nice touch that they added. And then the last top feature of this library is the vocal effects. So right away, you can see that there isn't really a sequencer, but you can go back and get the arpeggiator, filter, LFO. You can again pick the different layers 1 through 4, and then assign each one maybe a different articulation. But what really stands out about this patch, the vocal effects patch, is that you have access to all 5 of your vocalists. So Aaron, Evan, Jason, Mixie, and Redouan. So if you were to go to Aaron, you'll get breath 1, 2, 3, and 4, some shouts, long and short, and then an FX. And I believe that Evan has the same. Yes, okay. And then Jason will have breath 1 through 4, shouts and whispers. Mixie will have breath 1 through 4, breathy, scream 1 and 2, and effects. Redouan has breath, chants, grunts, laughs, muffled, roar, and yell. So you got a ton of effects here that you can mess around with, and let's just hear what that sounds like. We have grunts. Let's go to Mixie, because we haven't really heard her. Let's try Scream. Let's try maybe Jason, and let's go to Shouts. Really, really cool. So let's check out a few more just so you can get the feel of each vocalist. So let's try Aaron phrases.
Will you stop? Do you give up the clock?
I was undoing 2.
That was the one running on outside.
And also, because we said that this was a sequencer as well, if we were to hold down that purple key switch.
Come around to find me. What does it mean? What does sentimental mean?
And it'll keep cycling through because we went through one shot. Let's try maybe Jason. Let's try his word master. So that one is set to forward step. So it's going to just repeat the same step until we let go. So let's try it just with rage. Let's try evil, no rage. And then let's try both. Let's try Mixie. All right, so this sequencer is packed with different phrases.
Yo, yeah, you'll find the time right to pay. Yo, yeah.
It starts off on Simplicity Screams. We have Simplicity versus Freeze 2. Let's try Simplicity. And again, I just want to thank Soundiron for sending over this library. It is a ton of fun to play with, so thank you so much. Don't forget to use my discount code RRMusic to save 5% off your entire Soundiron purchase. And if you are looking for maybe a guitar or a drum kit that goes really well with the Voices of Rage library, then make sure you check out these review videos next. I'll see you over there, and as always, happy composing.